We need to change the way that we view procreation and parenting. There is something fundamentally wrong with the way that we view procreation and parenting. Most parents have convinced themselves that they did their children a favor by having them. They raised their children with the mentality that they did them a favor by having them. They tell themselves that life is a gift. I gave you the gift of life, so you must be thankful. Because if I didn't give you the gift of life, you wouldn't exist. I've done the right thing by having you, so you must be grateful. You must worship me. You must do what I want you to do. You mustn't have your own desires, have your own interest. You must do what I want you to do, because I brought you into this world. We need to change the way that we view parenting. We need to change the way that we view procreation. A lot of parents do not realize that it is actually impossible to have children for selfless reasons. Every time when a person decides to have children, it's for a selfish reason. You are having a child because you want to have a child. If you don't want to have a child, you are having a child because someone wants you to have a child. Someone you love, someone that you want to keep in your life wants you to have a child. But realize that it all has to do with you. It's not like when you have a child, you think, hey, there is someone who doesn't exist and who I think if I brought them into this world, they will enjoy life. That's not how you'll be thinking. You'll be thinking, hey, I want to have a child. I want to have a child. I'm lonely. Life is starting to become boring. I'm 30. I don't know what I need to be doing, so I should have a child. I'm ready to have a child. If I don't have a child, how is society going to look at me? My friends are having children. I'm the only one who doesn't have a child. My husband wants a child. I don't really want a child, but if I don't have a child with him, he's going to leave me, so I must have a child. Or my wife wants to have a child. I don't really want to have a child, but if I don't have a child with her, she's going to leave. It's never about the child. When parents have children, they're not really thinking about the child. They're having children for their own happiness. That's the first problem. But what makes it worse is that they convince themselves that when they have a child, they've done the child a favor by having them. They convince themselves that they have given them a gift. So that child must appreciate whatever they do for them. Because life is a gift. You must appreciate the fact that you were brought into existence because life is a gift. You should never think, hey, I'm not really sure if it makes sense that we are supposed to work for 30, 40 years Wake up in the morning, Monday to Friday, work, and not even have like enough money to travel and do the things that we want. I'm not really sure if that is a good thing. I'm not really sure if someone who decides to put me through that has given me a gift. Like, we don't want our children to think that way. We don't want our children to question things like, how is that a gift? It's not like you brought me into a world where I'm just enjoying myself. It's not like you brought me into a world where I don't have responsibilities. Like, once a child is born, they have responsibilities by default. They have to do things to stay healthy. They have to have like a mission in life. You must have a purpose. You cannot just be chilling and doing nothing and only just focusing on having fun. Life comes with a lot of responsibilities. What kind of gift is that? Life really comes with a lot of responsibilities. There are a lot of things that you must do in order to make your experience bearable. Otherwise, you're going to suffer a lot. There's something wrong with the way that we view procreation. We tell ourselves that we are doing something right by having children and they should be happy. It doesn't really matter if we don't have money. It doesn't really matter if we don't really know how to raise children. It doesn't really matter where we live, the struggles that we are facing. All of that doesn't matter. We have done our children favor by having them. What we do not realize is that we have children because we want to have children. Human beings are naturally selfish. We do things for ourselves. People don't do things for other people. If we lived in a world where doing things for other people was easy and that's what we wanted, life would be much better. If I see that, hey, there's this person, they don't have shoes, like, hey, let me buy them shoes because, well, they need shoes. There's this person, they're hungry, let me buy them food. I do have enough money to buy them food. Oh, there's this person, they can pay their tuition fees. Okay, I'm gonna help them. We don't live in a world like that. Human beings are inherently selfish. All right. So, what does that tell us? It tells us that when we do things for other people, we're actually doing these things for ourselves. Right? When you do something for another person, you are doing it for yourself. You might do something for someone because it makes you happy. Not because you are a kind person. Human beings do not put other people first. They put themselves first. What do I gain from doing this? That's how we are. Even people who are religious, it's not like they are religious because they love their gods. They are religious because they know that if they do something, it's not like it's all true, but they believe that if they do something for their God will make their lives easier. It's not like they just love God. I love when a Christian says, I love Jesus. I love Jesus, posting on their WhatsApp status. I love Jesus. What do you mean you love Jesus? What does that even mean? Do you even know Jesus? Why do you even love Jesus? Think about it. You hate a lot of people. There are a lot of people that you're not treating well in the world, but you're saying you love Jesus and you'll give your life to Jesus. You don't care about any other person. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It shows how selfish you are, actually. Because Jesus, you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, He's the Son of Creator of all things. So you love this nigga because you believe that he's the Son of the Creator of all things. Isn't that selfish? You don't love the people who are treating you right in your life. People who are in your life who have no power. People who are suffering. Like, you don't give a shit about them, but you love Jesus. And you think you're a good person because of that. People do things for themselves in this realm. People are selfish. That's what we must realize. So when a person decides to have a child, they're having that child for themselves. I know that there are people who've had children even though they didn't want to have children. Some of them had children because, well, they are afraid of their gods. Like, hey man, if I abort, I'm going to suffer my whole life. I know a lot of people who have aborted who are regretting that they have aborted, not because they want children, but because they are afraid of God. They are afraid of sinning. Like, they've done something horrible because God wants them to have children, and they aborted. They unalived someone. It's about them. It's not about anyone else. It's about them. People do things for themselves. All right? People don't do things for other people. They do things that make them happy. Even when people do things for you, they are actually doing these things for themselves. If there isn't anything that they're going to benefit directly or indirectly, they don't give a shit. That's how we are. We need to understand ourselves. I mean, yes, if you are a very conscious person, you can do things even if you know there's nothing that you're going to benefit. But I'm talking about like people in general. Sometimes you can decide that, hey, I want to do something for someone because I understand what they are going through. I understand the challenges that they have. So I'm going to do this for them. That does happen. I'm not going to lie. There are people like that who decide that, hey, even though I'm not going to benefit in any way, even if I'm not really going to be happy after doing this, I'm going to do it because I think this person really needs my help. But in general, people do things for themselves. Even when it actually seems like they're doing these things for other people, they're actually doing these things for themselves. So when you have a child, you're actually having that child for yourself. You're not doing anyone a favor by having them. It's not like there are children who are crying somewhere because they want to be brought into existence. No one is crying for you to bring them into existence. So we need to be honest about what it really means to procreate. We need to be honest about how people should actually raise their children. There's a lot of water today. Shit. I knew something was gonna happen. I knew one of these stones was gonna flip. Like, it actually flipped over. Like, I stepped on a smaller stone, so it flipped over. But yeah, we need to be honest about parenting. We need to be honest about procreation because we lie to ourselves a lot, and that leads to a lot of unnecessary problems. Most parents believe that raising children is just them buying them food and making sure that they have a place to sleep in. That's it. Buying them food, clothes, and making sure that they have a place to sleep in. That's it. I think that's parenting. They convince themselves that, hey, they did someone a favor by bringing them here, and they're providing shelter for them, buying them food, working very hard to make sure that this person doesn't go to bed hungry. So they should be appreciated for that. People must worship them for that. They're not realizing that, no, they're not doing anyone a favor by bringing them into this world. Most people who have problems in this world, whether they realize it or not, these problems are like there's a connection between these problems and how they were raised. Like there's a connection. It matters how you were raised. It matters how your parents raised you. Did your parents train you very well? Did they know what they were doing? Did they protect you? Some parents don't even understand their children. They mistreat them. And their children become traumatized and not really know how to function. Because trauma makes it hard to function. That's the thing. People who are traumatized don't know how to function. It's people who have been raised right who actually know how to function in this world, who are very excited about this whole experience because they've been raised right. They were shown love. People who were never shown love when they were kids, even when they're adults, you can see that they don't even know how to love properly. They don't really know how to have a healthy relationship with other people because they were never shown love. People who grow up in dysfunctional families don't know how to have good relationship with other people. And you might say, these people must work on themselves and change and become better. The problem is that when you are young, that's when you are learning about life. Right? When you are still young, that's when you are learning about life. So life will actually teach you how to live. So if you are not being treated right when you are young, that's going to be your reality your whole life. You're not good. Like if your parents never really treated you right, you're going to believe that each and every person that you're going to meet is not going to treat you right because you've never been treated right. So it will be hard for you to trust other people or to treat other people in a way that will make them treat you right. Because, you don't believe that, people can be treated right or you deserve to be treated right because your parents didn't make you feel like you deserve to be treated right. If you've never had money, when you cried because you wanted an ice cream and your parents said, we don't have money, you're going to grow up believing that you don't deserve the things that you want. There are people who, when you give them the things that they want, they feel guilty. They feel like they must do something for you, because they didn't grow up being given the things that they want. Like that doesn't seem normal to them. Like, hey, why is this person giving me what I want. Why is this person buying me gifts? Wow, that's very expensive. Like you buying me this gift just because it's my birthday? Wow, like you know what I mean? Like that that's unfamiliar to them. So they feel a bit guilty. They don't even know how to react. They were never shown love. Parents think that raising children is just about buying them food and all that. Like, nah, man. Children need to be shown love. Children need to be understood. Your child must be able to express themselves as honestly as they can, and you must be able to understand them. You mustn't be like, hey, don't say that. Don't make your child feel guilty for being the way that they are. Because what's going to happen is that when they grow older, they're going to feel guilty for being themselves, and they're going to end up being dysfunctional. It will be hard for them to open up to people. It will be hard for them to trust other people. They will always think that, hey, other people are going to reject me if I'm going to be myself. So they're going to keep to themselves. Children that have been raised right usually function very well in society. Yes, there are children who have not been raised right, who became great actors, who became great artists, who became great authors. But that's rare. Yes, people who have suffered, tend to like focus on art. I know that. But it's rare. You know what I mean? Because some people might even try to focus on art, but you find that they don't have the talent. You gotta have the talent. So yes, if you are a very talented author and well, you go through hell when growing up, of course you're gonna write great books that are gonna help people because you are writing about something that you have experienced. You're writing about something that you truly understand. But most people are not authors. Most people are not artists. Most people cannot sing. Most people cannot act. So how are they going to function with other people? And even these famous people, most of them, like Eminem, for example, he wasn't raised right. You can see that he's not able to like function properly. Yes, he's rich, he has all the money in the world, but you can tell that he's not really happy. So yes, he's a talented artist, but he's not really able to like function properly. I mean, he was addicted to drugs for many years. He's been through a lot. You can hear it in his lyrics when he's rapping that he still has a long way to go. He still needs to heal from a lot of things that he has been through. Even though he's older now, he's like he's in his 50s, I think, but still, you can see that he still has a long way to go. Because you don't just heal. Most parents don't know what they're doing. And they don't realize that if they don't do things right, their children are not going to be able to function very well in our society. I know that a lot of people believe that it is wrong to blame your parents. We grew up being told that you should stop blaming your parents, or when are you going to stop blaming your parents? But I think most parents suck. I think most parents don't know how to raise children very well, and we end up having adults who don't even know how to do things right because they weren't raised right. There's no way that a child who grew up in a dysfunctional family is going to become a healthy adult. Yes, they might become very successful. That is true. They might even become a motivational speaker, but you don't know what's going on in their personal lives. Like that trauma ruins you for life. That's the thing. That's what a lot of people do not realize. So you might see a person who's a motivational speaker who talks about how they've been raised, all the struggles that they've had to go through, and you find that they have a lot of wisdom. You can learn a lot from them. But you find that you don't know what's going on in their personal lives. You find that in their relationships, things are not working. That's so much because you can't run away from that. You can't run away from these demons that you've had to deal with when you were young. These demons grow, bruh. Because here's the thing, you become dysfunctional, and once you become dysfunctional, that's going to affect your relationships. You understand? So even your relationship with your friends, that's going to be affected. So this demon is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger, and by the time you're like 30, you're traumatized, you have these demons. So even when you're in relationships, even no matter how intelligent you are, it's going to be hard for you to make these relationships work the way that you'd want them to work, because these demons, you're fighting these demons, you know. But if you were raised right, if you were shown love when you were young, if you felt understood, if you felt appreciated, if your parents were there for you, teaching you things, telling you what you need to do in this situation, when things go wrong, here's what you need to do. If they supported you, chances are you're going to be a very healthy adult, because you were treated right. When kids bully you, your parents really do stand up for you, and they know how to stand up for you, because some parents don't even know what to do when their kids are getting bullied. They just go to school, hey, my child is getting bullied, blah, blah, like that's gonna work. Like, no, the bullies are gonna continue to bully your kid. That you must know exactly what you need to do to make sure that your kid doesn't get bullied again. You must know how to stand up for your kids. Reporting to the school principal that your kid is getting bullied, that ain't gonna do anything. Kids are mean, bro. What do you think the principal is gonna do? Those kids are gonna wait. Like, even if the principal is gonna expel them, they're gonna wait for your kid outside, beat him up. Like, you got us expelled. So you must know what. Like, there are a lot of things that parents just don't know what to do. Like, it's scary. Like, most parents are dumber than their children, and that's actually scary. Find that the kids are smart, but the parents, it's like they weren't children, and that's actually scary, because that shows you how society is structured. Like, what it's like when you're young, of course you are this smart person, but as you get older, because you are being taught nonsense, you become dumb. That's the problem. Like, you end up becoming dumb, because to even accept this nonsense that we are supposed to accept, you must be dumb. But kids, when they're young, bro, they're smart. They know what they want, you know. They know how to have fun. It's not easy to find a kid that is not happy. Like, kids, when they're so young, they are happy. They know how to be happy. They know what they need to do. But this system, because we are supposed to give into it and not give a shit about our own needs, our own desires, do what this system is saying we must do, what happens is that we end up losing ourselves. And end up losing the most important aspects of ourselves, and yeah, we end up becoming less of who we are. So kids, when we have kids, these kids end up being like smarter than we are. So imagine you're a parent and your children are smarter than you, and you're not treating them right. Of course, they're not gonna feel. They're gonna feel okay because they know that you're treating them the way that you shouldn't be treating them. Like they know how they want to be treated. They know how parents should be treating their children. So they can see that something isn't right. Like they don't like how you're treating them. They feel like you don't love them. They feel like you're stupid, or they feel like you are inexperienced. But they can sense that something isn't right. I know a lot of people who actually hate their parents, like who secretly hate the parents. You'll be talking to them and then they say something about their father, or they say something about their mother, and you're like, yeah, get it. Like, in my culture, it is actually taboo to hate your parents. In my culture, like, it's taboo. You must respect your elders. You must love your parents. Like that's how we've been raised. We have to be like that. But I know a lot of people who actually hate their parents. It's just that it is hard for them to truly admit that they hate their parents. But when you listen to them talk about their parents, you're like, yeah, I see. This person doesn't really like their parents. The fact that anyone can just have children, even though they don't know what it actually takes to raise children, is really, really scary. I do believe that most of y'all who are watching this video, if you feel like you're unable to function in this society, you're unable to have good relationships with other people. I mean, yes, sometimes it might be hard for you to have a relationship with other people just because you're just too damn conscious for them. That does happen. But still, if you want to have good relationship with other people, you should be able to have good relationship with other people. Just that if you're too conscious, you might not even care. But yeah, you'd actually realize that it has a lot to do with how you have been raised. You can't find a job. You're broke. You are homeless. You have nothing. You actually realize that it has a lot to do with how you have been raised. Like most of your problems have to do with how you have been raised. If you weren't raised right, you'd find yourself having more problems than people who were raised right. Like it's hard for you to do things. It's hard for you to do normal things that other people do because you weren't raised right. Even if your parents loved you, but if they didn't know what they were doing, it would be hard for you to actually function properly in this society. What we must realize is that we live in a very complicated world. We live in a very, very complicated world. Life is not easy. It's not like you just, once you are born, you just have the things that you want and just enjoy your life, just have fun and all that. No, you have lots of responsibilities. You need confidence, right? You need to know how to make other people want to be in your life and be with you. All these things count. A person who's hurt, a person who's been abused, a person who's been mistreated might not really know how to have good relationships with other people. They might not really know how to focus, Find that they don't even make it when it comes to school. Like they don't really pass because they don't know how to focus because they have a lot of problems. That is why when a kid stops performing, they start to ask, if a kid was performing very well, but then they stop performing very well, they ask that kid, hey, what's going on at home? Do you have problems at home? That counts. If you don't have problems, you don't really care. You'll be able to focus. Some people have ADHD because they have a lot of problems. So when they're listening to their teacher talking, like they can't really focus because to them that's nonsense. Like they have real problems that are making them suffer, and they're thinking about these problems. When I was young, when I had a problem, I wouldn't be able to focus on anything else. I would only be thinking about that problem. Like if I had a problem, I would only be thinking about that problem. But if I didn't have a problem, I'll be able to focus. And I think that's how I am now. Like if I don't have a problem, I'm gonna focus on whatever I'm doing. But if I have a problem, I'll be thinking about that problem. So I'm not going to focus on what I'm doing. And as we get older, we find ourselves having more and more problems. So if you weren't raised right, you're gonna have more and more and more problems because you're not gonna know how to function in society. So of course, if you don't function the way that you're supposed to function, then you're gonna have more problems than people who know how to function. You see, you're gonna have financial problems, relationship problems. You won't be able to heal from your childhood trauma because you keep on doing things that are reminding you of these experiences that you've had when you were young. If you have been abandoned by people that you trusted when you were young, it will be easy for you when you are older to do things that are going to make people abandon you. And you'll be like, hey, yeah, people leave. You find that it has to do with how you were raised. You don't trust people. You don't know how to keep people in your life. You push people away because of what you've been through. And when these people leave, you're like, yeah, you didn't love me. You didn't care about me. That's why you're leaving. But you don't realize that you didn't treat them the way that of the people who are able to keep people in their lives are treating them. A lot of people that I know who weren't raised right, they got issues. It doesn't really matter how much money you make, Look at R. Kelly, look at his brother. They got issues, bro. Like we have people who are having children have to be good parents. Like you have to know that you're gonna raise your kid right, because children are vulnerable, bro. If you don't raise them right, they're gonna go through hell because of you. They're vulnerable. They're still learning about the world. I mean, you don't know what this is, so imagine how it's like for them. They're still young. They're also wondering what the heck is going on. You do not have the answers. They do not have the answers. So it is good to treat them well so that when they grow older, they will be able to function. Most people who believe they have anxiety, it has to do with how they were raised. It has to do with how they were raised. I mean, if you weren't raised right, are you really going to expect good things from life? You think that if you are not being raised right, would you really expect things to be good in the world? Or you going to think that, hey, everyone is going through what I'm going through? And you learn to protect yourself. Most of what we call mental illnesses is just people just trying to protect themselves, really. Because if they didn't learn how to protect themselves, they would have suffered more. Finally, the person is very anxious. Yeah, they are anxious because they were constantly being mistreated. So now they have to be scared so that they will protect themselves. You see? You don't want to be around people who are not treating you right. You're scared of them. That's you. That's you protecting yourself. You feel scared so that you stay away from the people who are hurting you because they are hurting you, and that's not healthy. That doesn't make you feel the way that you want to feel. So we must realize that everything is connected. People want to act like we have free will, but not really. It matters the kind of experiences that we have as people. So if you were raised differently, you'd be a different person right now. This is one thing that you must realize. Like, if you were raised differently, you'd be a different person. The problem is that we live in a society that just wants slaves, that's all. It doesn't really matter how you've been raised. It doesn't really matter what you're going through. It doesn't really matter if you're happy. We don't prioritize happiness. We don't try to figure out how to make everyone happy. It's all about how we can use other people, and that's it. And if there is nothing that we can gain from, other people, we don't give a shit about them. It really does suck that we live in a world like that, and people convince themselves that it is a good idea that they bring more and more people into a world like that. Like, it's really crazy, and they convince themselves that life is a gift. They don't even know why they're bringing people into this world. I mean, shouldn't you have a reason? If you want to create a new person, shouldn't you have a reason? I'm creating this new person for this reason. And I'm not just talking about you simply just wanting to create another person, but I mean you having a reason. So if someone created a robot, they wouldn't just create it for no reason. They'd be like, I'm just creating this robot because I want to create a robot. No, you should have a reason. I mean, there are a lot of people in this world who don't know what they should be doing. Unemployment is high, like very, very high in sort of like, bro. Unemployment rate is high in South Africa. It's high in everywhere actually, because we've been bringing people into this world just because we want to bring people into this world. There was no other reason. We don't even look at the challenges that we are facing. Can you imagine? I bring a child into this world knowing the things that I know. I bring a child into this world just because I want to bring a child into this world. Of course, that child is going to suffer. I've dated maybe, I think I might have dated more than 30 girls, right? Like, I've had more than 30 girlfriends, and that shows that I'm not good, like, when it comes to relationships. Period. Like, if you have dated more than 10 people in your life, it means you're not good when it comes to relationships. So can you imagine I decide I'm going to bring a child into this world? With who? How sure am I that the relationship is going to work? So, okay, now me and the mother are no longer living together. What's going to happen? The mother is going to date another person. I'm going to date another person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we put people through hell because we don't realize how damaged we are as people. Because we do not realize the kind of struggles that we're dealing with as people. We don't realize that something is wrong. We must be honest with ourselves about the world that we live in. It mustn't be about what other people are telling us. Hey, life is a gift, life is this and that. No. Look at the world through your own eyes. and ask yourself what you are really seeing. You shouldn't just believe what other people are saying about life. Other people will tell you what they think they should tell you, because people are not honest. If you're going to ask another person what they really think about life, even if that person thinks that something is wrong, they won't really tell you. You think that if a person asked you if life was great, you would tell them if it wasn't great, or you'd be like, hey, no, it's great, because you believe that that's what you should say. People are liars, bro. You need to be honest with yourself about what's going on. You need to be honest with yourself about your own life, about your own experiences. 99% of the problems that people are dealing with have to do with how they were raised. So really, they should blame their parents, because their parents didn't know what they were doing. I mean, their parents had them when they were a bit older, so they should have been able to raise them right. If I had a child, I would have had to make sure that I raised my child right. I should have had to make sure that my relationship with their mother works. That's my job. I shouldn't be like, hey, your mother didn't want me to see you, blah, blah, nah, fuck that. I don't give a fuck what anyone is saying. I must raise my child right. I need to be there for my child. Like, that is super, super important. Like, if there's something that is important, is that you raise your child right. If you're going to decide that it is a good idea for you to bring a child into this world, you have convinced yourself that it's a good idea. So now make it work. Don't just let your child grow up not having a father, or not being treated right, not getting the kind of guidance that they need, and then boom, when they grow up, they're not able to function properly in society because you went there to teach them stuff. Like, that would be 100% your fault, and you'll be like, hey, look at that child, look at this person, look at that person, they're doing very well, blah blah blah. Yeah, they're doing very well because they were raised right. You might even say, hey, that person didn't have a father, but look, you don't know what they had. Maybe they didn't have a father, but maybe their brothers treated them the way that they needed to be treated. Maybe their mother had another man who treated them the way that they needed to be treated. We don't know. What I'm telling you is that people don't just fail in life either. That's what I'm telling you. People don't just fail in life. People don't just suffer from these mental illnesses that we like to talk about. Like, it has a lot to do with how they experience life. It has a lot to do with how they have been raised. What a child goes through when they are young really, really does count. We just don't want to be honest about that, because we like to blame people for how they feel, for how they are. We like to convince ourselves that the people who are able to function very well in society are just strong. They were just doing the things that they needed to be doing. We forget that people have not been treated by life the same. Some people are not even confident because, well, life didn't treat them in a way that makes them confident. How are you going to be confident if people hated you, if people didn't treat you right, if people made fun of you? How are you going to be confident? How are you going to be confident if you didn't have a person who was telling you to be strong, who was giving you the kind of guidance that you need? So you go back home after being bullied, and your dad doesn't give a shit, your mom doesn't give a shit. Be like, hey, this world is tough, so yeah, you need to be tough. Like, no. People need the right kind of guidance. Most parents really suck, bro. They have no idea what they are doing, and that leads to a lot of problems in our society. Because if we're going to have adults who don't know what they are doing, if we're going to have adults who don't know how to function, who don't even know how to raise children, but they still want to have children, which is scary, things ain't going to become better. So we need to change how we view procreation and parenting. You must understand that when you procreate, you are bringing an innocent person into a world that they didn't agree to be brought into. It's you who have decided that they must be in this world. And in this world, once a person is born, they can't really say, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. They have to be here and they have to participate. That's how things are in this world. You must understand that. So we must be sure that if we're going to bring people into this world, we know exactly what we're doing. We know enough about the world. The crazy thing is that I don't know if there's a person in this world who actually knows what they're doing. Like, everyone doesn't know what they're doing, and that is actually scary. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense if you don't know what you're doing, that you're going to bring a child into this world. If you can see that you have issues, your children deserve better. So what you must realize, your children actually deserve better. I'm not having children because I believe that my children deserve better. I deserve better. You know? Like, I deserve better, bro. I deserve better than having to wake up in the morning and go to work a job that I do not even like just to survive. I deserve better than that. Honestly, I deserve better than that. I don't care what anyone says. I know that success is possible. A person can end up making a lot of money, but that doesn't mean that you heal when you make a lot of money. That's what a lot of people do not get. That's why J. Cole said, he said something like, I love you, little niggas. I'm glad that you came. I hope that you know that, or I hope that you scrape every dollar you can. I hope you know that money cannot erase the pain, something like that. He knows that even if you accumulate wealth, it doesn't mean that you're going to heal. Like, that's it, you heal. No, it doesn't mean that. Money doesn't really heal people. What happens is that people end up like trying to make more and more money, thinking they're gonna feel better because they're addicted to success, right? Like, yeah, when I achieve this goal, I'm gonna feel much better, and then I achieve the goal, and yeah, I feel better for a while, and then try to achieve a new goal because they're not really happy. They got demons that they're dealing with, and these demons are chasing them everywhere. So it won't really matter how much money you got, because between the age of 1 and 10, you weren't treated right, so you weren't able to function the way that you need to function. So it won't really matter how much money you have. You find that you still have these demons that you don't know how to get rid of. So everything counts. We have to do things that actually make sense and stop lying to ourselves. We need to stop lying to ourselves about what it really means to bring a child into this room. We need to stop lying to ourselves about parenting. People lying to themselves, saying that they're doing a good job because they're waking up in the morning and going to work so that they will take care of their children. It's not just about that. And also, if you not even making enough money and you are working a shitty job, yeah, that's also a sign that you're not a good parent, because good parents must have money. It matters that you have money so that you'll be able to take care of your children. What's going to happen if your child is sick? You're going to take them to a public hospital where they're going to be treated badly because of you, because you wanted to have a child even though you didn't have money. Most parents are just lucky that their children don't get to have serious health issues. But we need to be honest about parenting. We need to be honest about what it means to bring another sentient being into this world. We cannot just be creating people for no reason other than, like us just wanting to bring them here. because this life comes with a lot of responsibilities. We do understand that consent is important in this world. We don't want people to be forced to do things that they do not want to do. So can you imagine being forced to have an experience where you can be forced to do things that you don't want to do? Like this comes with a lot of responsibilities. You have to be here for many years, bro. So this is worse than some of the things that people are forced to do without their consent. Because some of these things, you don't have to do these things for that long. But life, you have to leave it for a very long time without knowing what it is and going through a lot of things. So obviously, we do not see things the way that we should see things. And that leads to suffering. That leads to unnecessary suffering. Because we are not honest with ourselves. So when people blame their parents, I don't blame them at all. I know that society is going to say, hey, you're wrong for blaming your parents. Were they good parents? Did they know what they were doing? It really does suck to see a kid that is not being raised right. Like, it really does suck, bro. You see that this kid is not being raised right. This kid is innocent. They have not done anything wrong. They were just born in a wrong family and they're not being raised right. Like, that sucks, bro. That hurts. But that's the reality of our world. If you are born in the wrong family, you're gonna have to deal with the curses of that family, generational curses. Seriously, the fact that anyone can just bring a child to this world, even if they have 99 problems, that sucks. They're not happy. They know that they're miserable, but they bring a child. What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think your child is gonna be happy, really? You find that the chances of them actually being happy are like 1 in 1,000, because you're not even gonna know how to raise them. So they just have to pretend to be happy, just to make you happy, because we have trained people to, love their parents and to make their parents happy. We need to view things correctly in this society that we live in order to fix the problems that we have. Thank you all, guys.